surprise, motherfucker.
Hey guys, Kylo here. The fuse is lit. We are under like all the warnings that you can get. High winds, tornadoes, severe thunderstorms. Like they're talking about 70, 90 mile an hour winds. That's straight line winds off the gust front. It's blowing pretty hard right now, probably 20 miles an hour sustained. I'm tucked in behind the shop, so it's not windy right here, but it's gonna be dark. Like all this stuff is supposed to happen tonight at midnight, 1, 2 a.m., something like that. I had a student kind of fumble and bend a paramotor the other day, so I thought we might make this like a how to repair a bent paramotor video. I've not even taken it out of the trailer. I looked at it briefly when we put it up and I saw what happened. Let me get everything out and I'll be right back with you and we'll have a look together at this thing. So what happened here was the pilot made a bad decision on approach. He was trying to force a spot landing and ultimately he ended up crosswind landing way away from where he wanted to be, and to avoid hitting obstacles, he landed in the rough, crosswind, tripped, fell, and landed sideways on the hoop of the cage here. It bent the hoop in a little bit and made the netting loose. And that's ultimately the worst that happened out of the entire ordeal. There's a slight bit of dirt right here on the harness, and that's it. That's it. There is bent metal. It made him feel terrible. Honestly, I could give two shits about the machines. When I'm teaching students to fly, I want them to make good decisions flying and avoid stuff like this. Like if he hadn't tried to force a spot landing, this wouldn't have happened. His words before he took off were, my goal is to land right by the truck here. And I said, no, man, that's the wrong goal. Your goal should be to make a good landing. That's it. Accuracy should always be secondary to safe and proper technique. If you're not doing it properly, safely, and going through the motions into the wind, then, it's all for Neil. Who cares if you hit your spot and you fall over and crunch your shit? If you miss it by 50 feet and make it look like a beautiful ballet dancer tiptoeing along. That's the difference, Nobody's gonna give a shit if you miss your landing by 50 feet, but if you hit the bullseye like a damn bird turd and splat in, what was the point of that? So you win. You win a great prize, right? I'm not picking on the pilot. I mean, these are the things you learn. This is how you learn. You have to make mistakes sometimes to realize, damn, I shouldn't have did that. Again, he felt bad that he damaged the unit. I felt bad that for not drilling that hard enough to be like, no. You look at the wind, you set up an approach, you come in and you do a proper landing. If it's at the place you were aiming, then you get bonus points. But I would rather see a 100% good landing into the wind safely than I would see you nail a bullseye every time and look like a klutzy fool doing it. I didn't witness the landing. I was out doing a tandem with my son. All I can tell is that he went down hard right here and bent this. Let's quit talking about that, and now let's talk about how we're gonna fix it. I'll take a wet rag and I'll wipe the dirt off of the corner of the harness there. Nothing else is, there's some more. I found some more right there. That stuff wipes off pretty easy. We'll take care of that. But I think I'm gonna take this quarter panel off and I'm just gonna do a little bendy on it. Just some manual bending maybe across my knee, and we're gonna bend it until this netting gets tight again, and we're gonna try it like that and see what happens. If we look at the prop clearance on this hoop, it still clears it plenty good. Like there's no big issues. You can see where it gets kind of close, right about here, and that's where the dirt is. You can see the dirt goes from here to here. So this is where it contacted. That's probably where it got squished in. That's what I can tell by looking at the arc of the prop. I'm gonna worry about bending this section out a little bit. Should I not try to bend it though? If I just wanted to do a quick repair, what I would do is just tighten the string, right? And it almost doesn't even look damaged anymore. That's your quick fix, but it's titanium. It's not aluminum. So that allows us some bendy that you don't get with aluminum paramotor. That's one reason that I really like these MacFly units, is because they're all titanium, the whole thing, every part of it. So let's take it apart, do some bending. So I'm gonna give myself a little slack in the strings here by closing that in. I mean, if I look down it, I can kind of see where it goes flat a little maybe. So I'm gonna try to choke up on it and just give it a little That's nice and tight. I think I just fixed it. Let's go put it back on and see what it looks like. I'm actually quite amazed. That fixed, that's probably the easiest I've ever fixed a crashed paramotor. It literally took me 5 minutes. So let's get a wet rag, clean it up, and see what that's all about. So anytime there's a paramotor crash, one of the first things that happens is your hand goes down. And oftentimes you have this throttle in your hand. Now, it was in some soft mud, so I don't see any damage here. Sometimes when you have an accident and you have this throttle hit the ground, it could damage the linkage. So you want to make sure that there's no kinks or bends or damage just from the impact. Nothing's loose, messed up. Just take some water and a wet rag. And I'm just going to wipe off the dirt here, the mud that's on this throttle, and just get it looking good again, right? I'm going to do that everywhere that there's dirt. And you can more or less make this thing look like it's never been in the dirt if you just wipe the dirt off of it, right? All right, so that's good. Now, there was some on the harness here. We're gonna get to that next. A wet rag and a simple wipe. You can usually get all the mud off of a harness. At the same time that I'm doing this, I'm looking for damage. Now, it ain't like you hit rocks or something, so a little grass stain on that. Anywhere I see dirt though, I'm gonna give it a good wipe. Mud on the pulley there, I wanna make sure that I get that off. Speed bar pulley. Once you get the majority of the dirt wiped off with the sopping wet rag, you wanna squeeze it out good. And now you're going to wipe the water off of the harness so that it doesn't have time to set and soak in, cause mildew. And it'll also get any of the remaining stuff out. So just with a squeezed out rag, you wipe everywhere that you've already wiped. Pulls water out of the little metal parts. You know, you don't want that water sitting deep down inside a pulley, for example. That might cause oxidation, rust. I think I'm getting a majority of the green off too. Rub it from both sides. That's what she said, Joe? If I used a little soap, I might could have got the grass stain out too. But I've got the dirt off. It basically looks good. Down in the cracks where there's threads, you really work on those places to get the dirt out. That dirt over time can be abrasive to the threads inside your harness. So if you get dirt in there and then you start moving over time, those microscopic little rocks and grit, it'll wear it out and it causes damage. Cleaning the dirt off of your harness is an important thing to do for the longevity of the harness. It's just good practice to take care of your gear. So this paramotor was crashed. Now it's fixed and clean, and I've wasted all of 30 minutes while it was raining outside here. So I hope that helps you like the rain's upon us, my friends. We'll cut the video here and put this stuff up before it gets really bad. There's a storm coming. I hope you enjoyed the video. Consider giving it a like if you did. A subscribe if you haven't. We're really growing this channel more than I ever thought that it would in all my days. And it's because of content like this where I'm talking over the rain. So let me go inside so that we can do a proper run. So I got the paramotor completely wiped down. I did a crank and I ran it up a little bit out there just to make sure all the moisture was off the pipe and everything. Something occurred to me that I don't think I've ever shared is when you really want to clean something, a little compressed air is nice. Where that comes in handy is, for example, a speed bar pulley. Okay, we got this pulley. We wiped all the mud off of it. We got it nice and wet with the water, but then the water gets in there. Water will cause corrosion. It will push little particles down inside of there. So you can take your trusty old air compressor and you can blast all the water and the stuff out of the tiny little nooks and crannies that you can't get with a rag or with your fingers or by shaking it out. But you can take that compressed air and just give all the little nooks and crannies a once over with that compressed air, and it'll knock all the stuff out of there. So if you don't have an air compressor, that's okay. It's not something that's absolutely necessary, but on the handiness and convenience scale, it ranks above nothing else. And this is a trick I learned back from my gun cleaning days. I'm just kidding, I still clean them. But when I clean my guns, I'd loosen all the dirt with like a wiry brush or something. I say dirt, carbon, buildup, blood, whatever's on your guns. When it comes time to clean it off, you get it all nice and loose and then you wipe it. Then you take your air compressor and you blast all the little nooks and crannies out. There's your tip of the day. I'm going to leave everything opened up to dry, the harness, just where it's slightly damp. I've got the majority of the water out. I'm going to unzip the pockets and just leave it out here in the shop so that it can dry out overnight. Tomorrow, if we don't blow away, then I will take this thing and do a flight on it maybe. Or put it back up, or whatever. I don't know. But that's the video for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Another positive mark for the McFly Paramotor. They repair very easily with very minimal effort. So I'm real pleased with what I got out of that. That netting is just as tight as the day it was strung, maybe a little tighter. And you can't even really tell where I put the bend on it either. It looks good. Hey, I'm impressed with these machines. For what you get and what you pay, very competitive in today's market. You know, that's why I own 3 of them, and I've ordered maybe a 4th or 5th. Maybe, did we? Anyway, I'm gonna go back in here. It's kind of hot out here actually. Like I'm craving the air conditioning. Muggy, it's muggy. Like I'm telling you, as far as the weather goes, the fuse is lit. I will see you guys in the next one. Much love, everybody. Kyle out.